And we are back. You are listening to the Rutten River Pursuit podcast. We are Reality Outdoor Radio, where our mission is to get you in the outdoors by bringing you the people, skills, and products you can trust. And right now, we're bringing you all of those people, skills, and products from the National Rifle Association's Great American Outdoor Show 2020. It's day 6, folks. We're on the back half of the show, but there's still a lot of things to catch up on. So if you get a chance to get down, get in there and check it out for yourself. But if you can't, make sure you're listening in here, and we're going to bring it to you as best we can through the podcast. Before we head actually down to the showroom floor today on day 6, the first thing we're going to do is bring you guys a wonderful conversation that we were able to have with Catherine Mortensen, and she is the media liaison for the National Rifle Association. This is a great conversation. Everybody needs to pay attention to this. Check out what we had to say with Catherine, and then we'll take you down to the showroom floor for day 6. Here we go.
All right, we've taken a kind of a slight turn here this afternoon, and we have the opportunity to speak with Catherine Mortensen. And Catherine is the media liaison for the NRA, and we're just thrilled to be able to spend some time with her today.
Finally.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah.
I haven't been on the podcast long, but I'm willing to say this is the first time we've had a media liaison on the podcast.
Well, great. I'm thrilled to be here and to see what you're doing. I was just fascinated by how you are so mobile in your setup. And I've never seen anything like this before with this number of hosts who can put the show on from anywhere is what it looks like.
Oh,
absolutely.
it is. And it has happened that way. I mean, we've podcasted on the back of a boat while fishing.
With multiple kayaks while fishing.
Yes, multiple. Like we've tried to do it all.
Yeah.
So with multiple kayaks. So you don't all have to be sort of like joined at the hip.
We did. We rafted up. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. Took a little break from fishing
barge.
and talks a little bit. So.
That is amazing. So how did you all get into this podcasting field? And I assume, right, you all started out as sort of outdoor enthusiasts of some...
Yeah. So we all have like a common connection to Will, essentially. He's
that's
kind
a
of
good start, right?
He's the, I don't know what you would call it, the...
I don't know either.
Maybe
I don't know where you're going.
Maybe a liaison of some sort.
Yeah, he's the podcast liaison. So he's kind of. We all have our connection to everyone kind of originates with Will.
I'll get you my card.
Yeah. So, in one way or another, over the years,
Well, I think also like Will brought us all together because we all share the love of the outdoors in our own way,
right.
and we all like to pass it on and make sure the heritage of the outdoors doesn't disappear. Mm-hmm. And the aspect of us all being around the table goes back to none of us are masters at one thing, and we all dabble in a lot of things.
Right. Yeah.
If
that's a great way to put it.
If we get a guest on who is 100% on striper fishing, Stevie might be our guy, and Will might just be the newbie of it. You know, so and we go around the table for all different subjects that way.
You have this microcosm of
all aspects of the level of intensity of that
subject.
Or
matter,
whether it's fishing, hunting, archery hunting, guns,
camping, hiking, kayaking.
Yeah, there's really one person or multiple people that are, like Dave said, are either experts or I've never done it before.
And so right now there's 4 of you.
Yes.
But in total, how many are you?
So it kind of grows a little bit at a time. I would say there's 10, pushing 12. We started to do a little bit more video that kind of explains it even further. You know, the lifestyle, the outdoor lifestyle, that we're 365, 7 days a week. We honestly don't stop doing it, and it's just a glimpse, into a lot of people's lives. Like, there's nothing special about this other than we just choose to do it every day.
Do you do this full time or
no?
Well, yes, but we don't.
No one's getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
we all have daytime jobs, and we do this on evenings and weekends whenever we can squeeze it in.
And that's what people do. That's how people live this outdoor lifestyle.
Just because you love it.
You love it.
Yeah.
And did you all get started as small boys, or how did you end up?
As far as the outdoors?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
did the math one time, and I think we figured between our group we were
And
well over.
We're not good at math.
No, we're
I'm
not.
just
So
gonna put that
don't.
out
Yeah,
there.
please don't fact check us on this. We were somewhere over 200 years of combined outdoor experience. Yeah. So.
I would love to hear about one of your stories. I mean, does anyone have an interesting story of when you were a kid? What
We
kind
can
of got you hooked?
tell you a little bit. Like last week, we got these custom new canoe kayaks, and one of our guys, Uncle Catfish, had a hiccup with the engine, and it turned and got bumped wide open. So he was in the middle of the Potomac River fishing for monster
35-degree water.
Yeah, fishing for monster blue cats, and he's doing 360s in the middle, like riding it basically like a bull. And I don't want to say like what's the word, Schadenfreude or whatever. Like we laugh at his misery
Every week,
and that thing, that's part of why we are able to keep coming back, because everybody has a down moment or does something silly. Ours gets recorded. You know what I mean? So it's funny that.
Do you have video of this Potomac?
I think somewhere he has a GoPro footage of this, and we've heard audio. His buddy that he was with, Logan, he's like, Logan, get over here. And it's apparently
he won't
Logan
let
was
the
hooked
audio out. A couple of us have heard it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was not.
He was safe. He
pretty
got
scared.
the kayak under control, but it was just his handle to his throttle popped off and it got stuck. And then he said he switched the opposite way and it rode the opposite direction, counterclockwise.
It bucked the other way.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
But you asked about how we all got started. I think we all have the similar common bond of we got started from our family.
Yeah.
That really probably for I would say all of us, that lit the fire for us to expand on it as individuals. Our family played a key role in it, and I think we try to explain that, and we create a family around us to invite new people to the outdoors. We have some brand new people, that we work with, that we've invited out, and they're becoming experts along with us, and that's kind of our bread and butter too.
Mm-hmm.
We will help somebody out. They'll reach out to us. Like we were saying, each of us have kind of an expert thing. Our listener will just text us, and I had one of our listeners. He texted me about surf fishing, and I was like, "Here's what I do," and gave him what I do, and we're all open that way, and we're all available for our listeners to get a hold of us and just pick our brains. If we expanded on something on the podcast, we're open and willing to share more outside of the podcast.
Tell Catherine what we say at the beginning of every episode, what our mission is.
So our mission is to get people and introduce them to the outdoors by giving them people, skills, and products that they can trust. So that's our mission. We want to get people into the outdoors by doing what we're doing, getting information, gathering that, and then having a resource that people can go to hear about it and to go look up people and hear these skills that we're trying to get out of our guests and our co-hosts. And products, like here at the Great American Outdoor Show, we're walking around and we see something and we have to stop and take a look at it because it's something that we might want, and then we know that, hey, we need to tell other people that there's a product out there that can help them hook a catfish better, or to land more fish, right.
Yeah.
So that's what we do, and to piggyback on what David said was that's exactly how I got introduced to the guys here. I'm the newbie. It's been about a year that I've been with the podcast, and I contacted Catfish through social media about a kayak. I was interested in getting a new kayak, and I had a variety of choices, and I knew that he had a particular brand, and I said, hey, how do you like this kayak? And we started dialogue back and forth, and the relationship grew from there, and 15 months later, here I am, part of the group. So, and I'm loving every minute of it. It's great.
So picking up on what Dave, what you said, it started with your family as a child. Is that frequently how people get into a lot of these sort of outdoor sports? Is a father, uncle, grandpa, someone like that introduces
there's
them?
statistics on hunting that if the mother hunts, the likelihood of the children to continue hunting in adulthood is much higher. There's just a connection that, it's not just dad, it's mom and dad, and that fosters and nurtures more of a hunting aspect in adulthood. I don't know the numbers on it, but I've heard them. You can look them up. It's there. So and for me, like my dad, he worked a lot, but he had the passion. But mom and grandma would. I wanted to go fishing. Dad's at work. Mom and grandma had to go to the pond and made sure I was okay while I fished. So just similar situations like that, and they see that moms have a huge influence in adulthood, staying in the outdoors in adulthood.
I love that. I never actually heard that, but I love that. I love that because I work a lot with women who are Second Amendment advocates, competitive shooters, and hunters, and I just didn't realize how key women are to the whole outdoor experience.
Yeah.
That mothers can play such a significant role. I didn't know that. I think that's
it is
wonderful.
It's a really cool thing, and but some of us, it doesn't have to happen that way. Like Stevie and I had uncles. We had uncles that did it, and brought us along. Our dads never got into it. It just was something that escaped them. Yep. And it becomes part of the person's DNA at some point.
It really
does
does
or doesn't, and then
it really does.
And
so if I'm hearing you, it almost sounds like your podcast is a way for you all to bring others in who may not have that uncle or mother in their life.
Right.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have another guy, Uncle Buck. He's a little bit adult onset outdoorsman, and he I'm like, Bud, just be in the moment, like take on whatever we're doing, and because there's a lot more people out there that are like you than are, say, like an expert. You don't have to be anybody else. Just be yourself. Learn what you need to learn, and just kind of just
make those mistakes that inevitably you will, and learn from them.
Or watch us make mistakes.
And learn from those, learn from our mistakes.
Because we make them.
Yeah, I mean, and earlier this week we were talking to QDMA, Quality Deer Management, and they were saying that right now there's more of a push to start getting young adults into the outdoors because it's great to grab the neighbor kid, okay, that doesn't get in the outdoors, and you can hook them very easily into the outdoors. But for them to continue, there needs to be a slight financial backing, and there needs to be access to the outdoors that might not be provided at home. And if you can grab somebody in their 20s who has a little bit more free time, starts to have the money and the vehicle, or like the access to get themselves outdoors, there's a chance that they'll be able to stick with it more so than that child, in the 10 to 15-year-old range. So, there's a lot of different aspects that are coming out now, because we're seeing the baby boomers, age out of being able to participate in the industry. The license sales, we're going to have. I mean, that age group is going to phase out, and license sales are going to go down, and we need somebody to replace that. And we get most of our access because of license sales. If it won't be for the hunters and fishermen, we wouldn't have the conservation to continue and protect those species that we all enjoy. And that's just the facts.
And it's a scary time because we're getting a couple fronts are in question. You have the CWD, which, they're talking about taking out large populations of the animals.
In Pennsylvania,
especially. And what happens there is if you lose contact with the resource, the food, the reasons why we hunt, taking away a herd is not just, I know they're worried about the herd, but but you could lose a whole generation of hunters.
It's not
because,
just the ecological and biological
because
reasons.
we're not going to have the time to wait for this herd to get back up to speed, where we're used to that. So it's really that's a huge front for us and concern. And then the other side is the gun side, So we have to protect the guns that are
we use as tools. We use those as tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Virginia, which is NRA headquarters is in Northern Virginia, and I assume that your listeners have been hearing about what's been going on in Virginia with all the gun bills.
Yeah, that's crazy. How do you keep up with all that?
It's a lot to keep up with, and honestly, we were talking yesterday with some of my colleagues. One of the big questions people are asking around the country is, how did this happen? Virginia's a southern state.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
It seems like just overnight. And where did this come from? And, the best we could say is, one of my colleagues is a lifelong Virginian. His parents are lifelong native Virginians. And they said to him the other day, they said, Chris, we had no idea. Even though their son works for the NRA, they said, we've had it so good for so long in this state. We had no idea that this could happen so quickly, where the governor is proposing bans on magazines, ARs, confiscations, registrations. I mean, you name it. Every sort of Michael Bloomberg wish list, it's in Virginia now. And I just think that a lot of Virginians have had it so good for so long. And I think that thanks to others around the country have been paying attention to Virginia is because Michael Bloomberg has made it very clear he wants to use Virginia as a template and go into Pennsylvania, Ohio,
Maryland.
Well, everywhere he can. And it's been very difficult because this is a billionaire who has put it out there that he will spend everything he has to push his gun control agenda, and he's using Virginia as a template, and we're fighting, and I'm sure I'll bet you a lot of your listeners are part of this sanctuary city movement. We're sanctuary communities where they're rising up and going to their counties, and that's happening organically all over the country.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like we have reporters calling us every day. Is the NRA behind this? Are you pushing this movement? And I wish we could take credit for it in a way, but honestly, this is happening organically.
Could you explain that a little bit, Catherine, for people that might not understand what was going on?
I just saw that. I just saw that it's popping up in social media as well.
Yeah.
This is a very new concept to me. So.
Well, in the state of Virginia, more than 90% of the jurisdictions have voted on resolutions that say we won't enforce any of the Northam gun control bills. That's Governor Northam. And these are just regular people who have had enough. They want their voices heard, and they feel that they have lost their voice in the system because Michael Bloomberg has come into the state and gotten all these gun control lawmakers into office, and they feel very disenfranchised, and they want to have their voice. And
this is kind of the reverse. What we're typically hearing about sanctuary cities. This is antithesis of the sanctuary cities in California, New York. When we're talking about immigration enforcement.
Right.
So these are
communities where they're passing resolutions, usually at the county level, saying we will not enforce any of these Northam gun control bills.
The state laws that get passed,
Right.
they will not enforce those laws, whether it be confiscation, whether it be, the sale between private parties, and you have to have a background check, and of course, there's 5 or 6 different bills that have been up, and
this is 90%.
More than 90% of the jurisdictions in the state of Virginia.
Wow!
Right.
So
it's overwhelming.
At what point are they just going to say, "This ain't working"? I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
if you have 90% of your population, or at least 90% of the jurisdictions not supporting something, you would think. They get the message.
That is what you would hope. So we're fighting that in Virginia, and I know around the country people are watching that, and they're worried that it could be their state next.
Yeah.
And the truth is it could be.
And there was just a Second Amendment rally in Virginia, correct? In
Richmond?
In Richmond. The governor what did he do? Banned open carry or something like that during that time?
Yep. He created a large fenced-in area in which you couldn't carry a firearm, and left tens of thousands of people completely defenseless, without any ability to defend themselves. Yeah.
So for our listeners, how would you instruct them and guide them on preventing this to come to a community near them?
That's a good question.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Number one, they have to vote. They have to take every election seriously, because elections do have consequences.
Yeah.
That's the lesson from Virginia. I think that a lot of our supporters in the state of Virginia perhaps just were a little complacent, because we have had it so good for so long in Virginia. And the November election came. Michael Bloomberg had put in millions of dollars to back pro-gun candidates, and he won a very slim majority. So it was not a mandate. It was not sort of an overwhelming, he took over the state.
Right.
He got a slim majority, just those 1 or 2 votes that he needed to pass his bills, and they're moving forward. So number one, I think people have to vote. And when politicians tell you that they're going to ban a gun or impose gun control, take them at their word.
Yeah.
They will. If they're given the chance, that's what they're going to do. Beto O'Rourke was running around saying he was going to ban ARs. I believe him. If given the opportunity, he would.
Right.
So we have to take these politicians seriously, and then vote, and then remember, because this is something that we as voters forget to do, is to thank those good elected officials who do stick up for our rights.
Yeah.
I think it's worth sometimes sending them an email or a letter, a phone call to their office, and to thank them, because sometimes we forget to thank the good lawmakers.
Yeah.
We always
Great.
remember to call the bad ones and send them the emails angry or are in opposition, but if we can remember to thank the good ones, because they need to hear from us. A lot of them do a great job, and they stick their necks out for us to protect our rights. So, let's thank the good ones. Let's remember to vote, and take these politicians at their word when they say they're going to try to take our guns. I believe them.
Yeah.
What do you say to a person who just honestly feels like the politicians are so out of touch, like they're just a separate, like,
I think they are. Yeah, obviously.
I mean,
they're just,
well, I'm just saying, like, how do you feel like, or help someone feel like their voice is heard? Is it?
I mean, really, your voice is heard when you vote.
Yeah.
And I worked for a member of Congress on Capitol Hill, and I know firsthand that emails and phone calls to his office, he listened.
Really?
He absolutely listened.
Wow.
Good.
At 100%. I know that many voters feel that they're not being heard, but they are heard, and their voices make a difference, and voting is ultimately what they need to do.
So,
that makes
we
sense.
kind of covered how to help prevent this to come to a community near you. How can we continue to support Virginia?
That's a great question, because I know that a lot of the people who came to those rallies came from neighboring states because they were very concerned and wanted to help us out. I think the most important thing is to be vigilant in your own home state and be aware when Michael Bloomberg is coming into your state, what candidates he's backing. And he doesn't come in as Michael Bloomberg. He comes in as Moms Demand Action or Every Town for Gun Safety. He has several of these gun control groups that he's funding, and that's how he
and they
gets
sound.
in.
It sounds great. Like, who wouldn't want gun safety? But it's
Ulterior, more deeper motives.
That's exactly right, and that is precisely his strategy. Is he's created these sort of front groups where the moms are the face of it, but he's putting the money in, and it's tough.
Sure. On a national level, how are things looking regarding Second Amendment rights?
Well, we're, of course, thrilled to have Donald J. Trump in the White House. He's been a great friend to all the Second Amendment supporters across the country. He's been fabulous. He gave a shout-out to gun rights last night in the State of the Union.
He did, didn't he?
And with the divided Congress right now, we have anti-gun people in control at the House, pro-gun majority in the Senate. So bills aren't really moving. So right, that's good. None of the bad bills are moving.
Sure.
Nancy Pelosi has wanted to ban ARs, and those aren't moving. But on the flip side, our good bills aren't moving either.
Yeah.
We got close a couple years ago. I think it's 1 or 2 years ago. We were moving through with national reciprocity.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
That would have been fabulous.
Yes.
But it got stopped. It was either in the House or the Senate. It made it through one, but not the other. Anyway, it made it through the House, didn't get through the Senate, but that's probably our top priority for federal legislation.
So is that currently still active and being worked on? And
It
kind
is.
of back and forth?
It is. We still don't have the numbers we need in the Senate to get it through the Senate. So I think that that's a thing that your listeners and anyone who's engaged on this issue might want to check with their U.S. senators. Do they support the national reciprocity? We need those senators to support that.
So, Catherine, that kind of goes back to every vote matters, and research your candidate in your area who's going to represent you, because that is also helping things like Virginia. That's one way we can, as Pennsylvania residents, stay strong in Pennsylvania, vote people to the national level that support our ideas, support the Second Amendment, and just keep continuing. I mean, that's great.
And you can always donate, NRA.org. The NRA, the vast majority of everything we bring in comes from annual memberships and small donations. We really are a member-driven organization, and we rely on those small donations.
So, Catherine, when our listeners are at the show, there's many opportunities for them to sign up.
Yeah.
So we would encourage them to do that. There is a booth where you can get your NRA swag, so you can continue to support them.
That's a nice booth,
That
too.
is. Man, do you see the vest?
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah. Sorry, we like vest around this table.
I think my kids call it merch.
Yeah.
NRA merch. Yeah, it's some good merch.
It is good merch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple discounts though on membership. So definitely the whole line from a year subscription to a lifetime membership. It's deeply discounted. So
Yes.
check that out.
Check it out.
And one thing I always enjoyed with being a member is the magazine. It's great information. It kind of ties you in and keeps you active. It's I always looked forward to that coming in the mail. So continue that for the NRA.
Great.
That's a great thing.
Thank you.
In this day of everything's digital, I still enjoy having that subscription come in.
Yeah.
And we hear that from a lot of our members. A few years ago, when I think looked like everything was moving digital, the NRA was trying to do more in the digital space with the magazines, but we got a lot of pushback from our members who really they like that paper magazine.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I get it, because I do too, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Those magazines are a real value, I think.
Personally, I subscribed to the digital copy, and then I went a while, and then I'm like, you know what? I thought the same thing. I like to sit down and
don't
actually
always
flip
have
through.
Wi-Fi.
So
honey cam.
that's true.
Exactly.
So I went back to the paper
Yeah.
magazine. So I get the American Hunter.
Yep.
Come in my door.
Same with our house. We get two of them, one for my husband, one for me. I get America's First Freedom, which is more about the political stuff. My husband gets the Shooting Illustrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more of a tinkerer type collector.
That's nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. That's great. And anything you want to leave our listeners with?
No, I've just been fascinated to learn about what you all do, how you got started, and it seems like a great community of people that.
It is.
absolutely.
We are blessed with that community.
Yeah.
Yep. And PA, with the tradition, growing up in PA, having it at our disposal at any time, it's just, we're very, very blessed, like you said. It's our backyard, so we really, really care about
There's
what's
no better
going on.
state for the NRA to host this event in. So thank you.
Yeah, we're very happy that you guys are here. I mean, there was a time when this show was going to go away, and
That was the worst.
It
That
was.
was.
And the
That was a
NRA picked it back
bad
up,
year.
and we are thankful that the NRA is here to continue this show.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I will definitely pass that on to my bosses. So thank you.
Very good.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks.
it.
It was
you.
fun.
Awesome.
All right, guys, we're in the Outfitter Hall now, and we come over here to talk to Doyle Weaver, and along with his dad, Mark Weaver, and Brad Long, and Andrew Weaver, have Wild Valley Outfitters out of Saskatchewan. And I got an insight about there's a difference between, like hunting waterfowl and hunting waterfowl. So I wanted to come over and introduce you guys to Doyle. And Doyle's quite a ways away. He's in Saskatchewan, but the trip's worth it, is it not?
Absolutely.
Hi, Doyle, and welcome to the show.
I heard it's waterfowl heaven up there.
It is. It might be.
Yeah, as my esteemed colleague here, Travis Stout, says, it's the motherland.
What do you say, stout? I thought it was statch.
Stach, strange, stouch,
Strange.
pistachio,
Okay, I'm
scotch
sorry, go
tape,
ahead,
whatever
Doyle.
you want to call it.
Close
But
enough.
no. I mean, guys, there's a reason why in North America there is the motherland of waterfowl hunting, and it will forever be known as Saskatchewan.
Nice.
All right, and it's just got a bulk of the Central Flyway, and it's got a bulk of the Mississippi Flyway, and they kind of break through Saskatchewan, and they start heading down the Mississippi or the Colorado Rockies or whatnot. And I'm telling you, it's one of those deals where it's a bucket list hunt for a reason.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I went one time 15 years ago with my dad and his buddy Matt Ferry when I was a teenager, and I found myself going back every year since.
You've been back every year.
Every year since.
Because, the groups of birds that come in aren't 4s and 20s and all the time.
Shane, down here, man, you could have a hunt be a good hunt and have 4 volleys in that hunt.
That's my typical Tuesday. Yeah.
A goose hunt, say you have a group of 10, a group of 20, and a couple pairs, hey, man, we're banging out birds and we're having a good time doing it.
Yep.
Duck hunting, it's the same thing down here. But up there, man, you will run into hunts where you have 40, 50 volleys.
Have you had anybody ever come up that hasn't witnessed that gets gun block, where they can't shoot because their mouth's open and they're like,
Absolutely.
Because watching the video behind Doyle, he's got a TV up behind him. It just looks like heaven.
I haven't said a word yet, unfortunately, because I've been literally just watching this thing. It's action-packed geese, ducks, or geese everywhere. It looks like
It's just the sheer concentration of birds.
What are we targeting?
Yeah, what all are we hunting, right? That's what I was going to ask. Good
Everything.
question.
We get birds first off the tundra. They hatch them, and they raise them a little bit, enough to fly, and then we're shooting them. Especially with snow geese. We live and die.
They're not pressured yet.
No, they're not pressured yet, and we shoot a lot of snow geese in the part of Saskatchewan where we're at. We're on a pretty large lake, and it just seems like that funnels a lot of snow geese to us. And we shoot snows, we shoot lesser Canadas, big Canadas, speckle belly or white fronted geese,
No way.
then any
you got
array
your
of
cacklers,
ducks. Everything, yeah.
Ducks, out of the fields, it's going to be a lot of mallards,
Wait,
widgeon.
There's ducks there too.
Pintails, and there's ducks there too.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
wait, there's more.
I know.
Also, sandhill cranes. Don't forget about sandhill cranes, and that's something
Ribeye
that
of the sky.
that's something that a lot of people don't get to shoot, and
No.
and it's something that people love to come up and target in September.
Now, how
And,
big is a sandhill crane, literally, like, wingspan wise? They're pretty big.
I don't
It
know.
would square up with me.
Would it?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I would
you're
say
4'3",
it's a little
so
taller than a blue heron.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
4'3" is
a stretch.
Hey, they don't call me the duck troll for nothing. You know what I mean?
Travis
I may be
Stretch.
a little giblet, but man, I'll throw Grandpa Chip's war medals off the bridge.
like a spider monkey.
I'm telling you.
No,
I'm telling you.
the crane thing sounds amazing because it is. You're right. There's something that we don't get to witness down here very often.
It's
What time of year are we looking at then?
September, I think, right?
yeah, for cranes mostly it's September.
Yeah.
By the time we get up there around the 1st of September, late August, there's heavy crane feeds. As soon as stuff gets harvested, the cranes pile in there. They're absolutely the first thing to be there. And the first time that there's a cold north wind, they're boogered out of there. They don't like the cold. So,
Can I ask a quick question? So,
Sure.
are we talking about layout blinds? How are we hunting?
well,
For
Here's the
geese.
deal.
Let's go geese for stuff.
people don't like layout blinds. They're
Yeah.
uncomfortable, especially older gentlemen. They just don't like them.
Right.
And so we've
People
got
that are big around the midsection like
I
me.
hate them.
like yours truly, absolutely. Honestly,
Can't stand 'em.
you shoot better out of a stand-up blind if you're able to sit down and come up to shoot and let up instead of laying down. And we try to avoid that if we can. And we hunt stand-up blinds a lot, and you're able to get away with a lot up there. And we just you stand up blinds, we'll put them in the middle of a field and brush them heavy with willows and all kinds of brush.
I would like to also ask, so one of the only non-favorite part about waterfowl hunting myself is getting out of the blind and going to get my goose most of the time because it's a long way away. And
I
have
thought
to
you
go
said that's why we were going with Travis.
Yes.
Best bird dog.
Wait.
Best bird dog in the Atlantic
I
Flyway.
happened to see, bringing it up, I happened to see some bird dogs in this video. And
Absolutely.
Are these some of the dogs up there that might be working?
Yeah, we obviously Travis is one of our guides, and then
I'm really good on hand signals. Doyle will be like, dude, it's behind you.
Absolutely.
And they'll break out the phone. I'll be like, oh, it's to my left.
I mean, I'll hit him on the shot collar if he doesn't listen to me too good.
He won't let me hunt. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to let the dog hunt.
Come on, Travis, use your nose. Come on. But another one of our guides, kind of our snow goose specialist, is Matt Bratton. He's a native of Virginia. He owns a snow goose outfitter in Arkansas. I'll give him a little shout out. It's Brushy Bayou Outfitters, and he's a self-proclaimed snow goose gypsy. He's like a closer in baseball. You know, they're all a little bit weird.
Yeah.
That's snow goose guides. They're all a little bit crazy. They're just a little bit eccentric, and that's Matt.
If you trust them, they get the job done.
And he's got a mullet. I mean, it's shaved on the sides. I mean, he's full send all the time. And that's his Chocolate Lab Max. And that dog is as crazy as his owner. And they're a pair, man, and they get it done. I mean, you can see this picture standing behind us. That's a grid of 100 plus snows right there.
Wow.
And he mashes for sure. I mean,
we don't get a lot of snows right in my area right here. Now, they're in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
A little bit east of me. And
that's the big greater snow geese, too. Those are.
And we get them in huge numbers when you can find them, down east of Lancaster, things like that.
Okay.
But there's very little opportunity to get out to do this a lot.
Sure.
When we come up this season in September, would we be hunting you hunt every day, morning and evening, or?
Yeah, we typically, morning is our primary hunt.
Yeah.
And we try to go after geese in the morning. Until October 15th, you can't shoot dark geese in the afternoon, which would be Canada geese and speckle bellies.
Yeah.
And so if guys want to target those, we kind of have to go after those in the morning.
Gotcha.
And then a lot of times there's a lot of spillover. There'll be ducks in with Canadas and specks, or there'll be snows and Canadas or snows and ducks. And so it'll be somewhat of a combo hunt. We call those salt and pepper hunts if you got white birds and dark geese, whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of times if we're going after both species and we have a really good hunt in the morning, and we might limit out on ducks and geese. We'll call it a hunt, go back early, get a good lunch in, and then we'll put all the trucks on the road and get a good scout in. But if not, we'll usually do geese in the morning, and we got scouts out in the morning running every day, and we'll try to put them on a duck hunt in the afternoon.
Do you have lodging for me that is away from
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
So you'll be upstairs in a room, and you're in room. And then Travis, we put him out in the back shed.
There's a doghouse?
Yeah. He's got a
Put
pillow.
him in the troll cave.
He's got a pillow
Put him
and
in
a
the
bath
giblet
towel. And he does okay out there.
Good.
We give him some celery and
You got the bale hay.
yeah, keep him warm.
No, I use all the feathers from all the ducks.
Yeah.
And Travis was saying that you've been doing this a long time, so you got it down to a science where if you have two buddies, and and now we're talking strictly here, I'm from Pennsylvania, so you got two buddies to drive out and drive back. It's a lot more. It's literally a lot more. It's a lot more affordable than I thought once you actually broke down the travel.
Oh, yeah.
Up and back, and because it just seems a lot of these hunts, when you talk about Africa and you talk about New Zealand, whatever, Saskatchewan sounds far away, but it's really not that horrible. It's really not that bad.
What's the drive like? What are we talking about?
If you were to leave Harrisburg and head straight out there, you're probably looking at 29, 30, 31 hours.
Unless I'm driving.
And then
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
truck stop meatloaf. And
so the next obvious
24
question
hours.
is
Gotta stop at an Iron Skillet. Truck stop. Come on, man.
my guts are already hurting.
This is not a joke. I'm not trying to be funny here. This is like you
Thank
said,
goodness.
It's like it's a bucket list hunt for a lot of people. It's just a lot of times it's once in a lifetime. Do you need waiters?
Hold on, let me take this one.
He's gonna blow
Absolutely not. No waiters. Please don't bring waiters up here. Please do not bring waiters.
Somebody in Virginia
I
is going
said
to skin
easy.
you.
I said easy.
Bring muck boots. Bring muck boots and some warm clothes. That's what Travis is there for, and that's what Matt's there for.
So, yeah, good
Nice.
point.
Absolutely.
Give me a rundown what I have to bring.
bring a shotgun, obviously, and bring a gun declaration form,
That
which
was
is
going to be along my next
get that
question
at a
is how you're
courthouse.
getting that gun across the border.
Sounds complicated, but it's not. You just hop on Google, Google Saskatchewan or Canadian gun declaration form. PDF will come up. Print that out, and it's literally one sheet that you need to fill out: name, address, where you're going to be
Serial
in
number
Canada.
on the gun, barrel length, gauge.
Keep that with your passport when you're going through customs or border crossing or whatever. They'll give you a halfway check. Sign it down. You'll pay like 25 Canadian dollars, which is like 16 US bucks, and you're good to go. It's really not that big of a deal to get a gun across the border.
Do you have
glad we
Taco
covered
Bell in Saskatchewan?
Yes, but
They got Taco
Canadian
Fresh.
fast food is a huge disappointment.
Okay, well,
It's nothing seasoned.
I mean,
Because they try to make it healthy.
I can. Yeah, okay. I don't know
That's
about
why
healthy
they're
tacos.
so skinny and hot up there.
Yeah. I
You
can
know, it's tough for the listeners because they can't see what's going on, but I really want to ask Will what the last sentence was that Doyle said or Catfish said, because Will's eyes have been on this video the whole time with his jaw.
I've already
resting
watched it
on the
once.
front.
That's why I can look away.
locked
But
in.
doesn't it look?
Can't look away.
Doesn't it look like Canadian heaven though?
Yeah, it really does, and it looks accessible. You know, I like you said, it's like Saskatchewan to me is like super cold, snowy, crazy.
Well, and terrain-wise, that could have. It almost looks like that could have been taken along the Susquehanna River
That's
somewhere.
not
You know what I mean?
unlike
That's-
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
That's
You
the.
see that gun shell flinging?
You know, and people think about Canada, they think about it being like a barren, frozen tundra.
Yeah.
We're not. We're in an agricultural
Yeah, it looks like it.
agricultural expanse. I mean,
Now-
golden
I'm going
wheat
fishing
fields,
while we're
barley,
there.
pea fields. I mean, everything. Canola, flax. It's just an agricultural paradise, and there's wildlife everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, on any given scouting trip, I have seen in one scouting trip,
Canola
Mule-
Flats was my country band.
I've seen mule deer,
They gave
antelope,
up, started
moose,
making
elk,
oil.
all in the same scouting trip. I mean, there's wildlife everywhere. It's unbelievable.
Now, can you bring any of the meat home?
Absolutely can.
So
yeah.
what do you do? Throw a deep freezer in the bed of your truck?
If you want. I mean, yeah. What we have to do to transport meat back across is you have to leave a wing on
Okay.
for bird
No, I
identification.
gotcha. That makes
and
sense.
so not that big of a deal. It's a
Didn't
little,
they do something like that when we went fishing? Didn't you have to?
You just got to declare it.
Yeah.
and then declare it when you cross, obviously. But and then you can take your possession limit home.
What are? Now this might be a good one because
I
me
just-
and Will just might happen to have been really, really far into Canada just recently, not too long ago.
Yes.
What's the bug situation like?
The bug situation.
Yeah, like black flies, mosquitoes.
The mosquitoes will carry you off. So bring your thermocell.
Yeah.
Bring
spray.
two of them.
It's typical Canada.
It's
then.
like
Just douse
they're-
yourself in gasoline.
They're huge.
Yeah.
They're like pterodactyls.
Yeah, yeah.
They're. I cringe thinking about that.
We have shooters raised up on a group of mosquitoes thinking that it's a bunch of ducks all the
Teal.
time. I'm like, easy, easy, easy.
Do you remember this when
Cut
we
'em.
went fishing?
We already got our mosquito limit.
It's unbelievable. I mean, they're. I've never been anywhere, and I've been hunting in South Carolina, and Florida, and Georgia,
Yeah.
and they're not Canadian mosquitoes.
This isn't
I
a
mean,
negative
it's-
thing either
Are
on the
you allowed-
podcast. It's a thing with Canada. So
Yeah.
it's not just your
Yeah.
place.
Are
It
you
is.
allowed to wear any other camo other than Sitka gear?
Yeah, actually.
Is that what you're seeing up there?
Just a lot of Sitka.
Well, I mean, Travis doesn't like the Sitka gear.
I don't
enjoy
know.
the
I'm
Sitka
switching
gear.
over. I'm coming to
Um,
the dark side. I'm going to piss off Matt by doing it. Matt's the one that hates all that. And, you know, I mean, hey, man, if you like what kind of camo you like, then more power to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a
It's
Is this
Sitka fanboy, but here's the deal: when you guide that many days in a year, I'm gonna wear what's comfortable and what works for me.
Crocs and Sitka?
No doubt, Croc gang for life.
I love it, buddy.
I tell you what,
Oh, man.
listen.
Is this
those-
a white
those bibs-
hoodie affair? I mean,
absolutely. Listen,
okay.
I wear a white hoodie and Sitka bibs like 80% of the time
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
up there
I live in
because
my
we
rubber
lay in our
boots,
we
too.
lay in
I
the white
get it.
socks. all the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, most of it was a joke, but like,
But
yeah,
that pair of Sitka bibs I bought the 2 weeks before I went up and guided my first hunt in Canada.
Yeah.
And I still got the same pair.
How many years ago was that?
5.
Yeah, so it's quality.
It's quality, man. And if you
I
bust
don't own
something
any
up
of
or
them,
a
but they're
zipper, you
selling
can
me
send
on.
that thing back.
Gotcha.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I dig-
quality gear.
And now
That's
you were
why
just
I
saying
use it.
something about selling you on it.
It's a white hoodie affair.
Here's the whole deal about you can go up with any outfitter up in Saskatchewan or Alberta or Manitoba, and the hunting's going to be phenomenal. All right. Now, what separates us is the camaraderie, the being in with the family. I always like telling, this is what I always say. I'm like, look, the client relationship, we're hunting buddies. We want to be out there and have a good time. Yes, us guides, we're not allowed to shoot and all that and everything else, but just because I don't got a gun in my hand doesn't mean I'm not part of the hunt.
I've said that so many times.
Exactly. Now, your hunting's going to be great. The lodge, we have beautiful lodge, well-furnished, comfortable, the food's going to be good.
I was going to say, do you second as the cook?
I mainly clean a lot of birds. I don't cook a lot. I cook my breakfast sandwich when I get back.
It's Tuesday Travis chili night.
Yeah, well, now the snow goose gypsy, he's the one. You don't want a troll cooking for you, but you do want a gypsy cooking for you, because I don't know how he does it, but he makes it, and it turns out great.
Hey, he gets a tumbler in his hand with a little bit of mixed drink in there, and he goes out and grills. Oh, my gosh.
I would like to see this at least once in my lifetime, and obviously I want to come hunt with you. And now my new friend Doyle, because, there's certain people you can connect with right away. If people do want to come hunt up here with you, first question is, how many is it next season they can book? This season, are you booked out, or can you fit them in this year coming up?
I've got limited spots available.
I figured,
honestly,
especially because of the show.
Well, don't give them away.
And this show,
so you're booking for next year, are you?
We're already setting up for
this show's pretty great.
2021.
I did. I booked a trip today for 2021. So we're already booking for that, and we've got very limited space.
We're working out a small discount. I didn't tell you guys about this yet, but this is going to have a little Rutten River cover over the thing here, and that is all going to go in your barn and have to be brought up here every year to the show.
No worries.
So he don't have to travel with it, and then we can use it for our shows. We just cover this part up, and it's like a give and take.
Done and done.
We worked. I'm glad. Let's shake on that real quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, man, it's a brother-man brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
I tell you what, man, when he calls
Thank you
people
so much.
brother, man, all of my clients,
Six
they
times
just,
an hour.
Yeah.
they just get such a kick out of being with Travis.
Doyle Weaver, correct?
Yes, sir.
Doyle Weaver.
Appreciate it, guys.
And Travis, as
Strange.
always.
Statch.
Travis,
Mustache.
like
Strop.
always. If you guys do want to go hunt, I can't think of better guys to go to Canada with to hunt.
I appreciate that, man.
We very
Waterfowl
much
at least.
appreciate that.
So, I don't know if I'd want to
Absolutely.
go hunt like fishers and bobcats with you. You'd probably get us eaten, but we'll leave it at that.
Amazon hunts in
maybe
South
the second
America is
trip.
kind of like a two-year deal. You know what I mean? We're gonna go in there and try and free a jaguar.
I want to go. You have to get two of my brothers to get in one of the Dodge Rams with me, but I would like to go.
Funny how he said something about a Dodge Ram.
Dodge, come on, man.
We're a Ford outfitter here.
We're a Ford outfitter.
I've ridden in your truck. I remember in the middle. Remember? We're gonna take off and go over here to another owl. And dude, we really appreciate you talking to us.
I appreciate y'all stopping by, man.
Yep.
For sure.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, boys.
See ya.
And we are now in the fishing hall again. Stevie gave me a call and said, you guys you've been spending too much time talking hunting.
Not in the fishing hall.
Not in the fishing hall. Get over there. And I couldn't think of anybody better to start this day off in the fishing hall other than FX from the great province of Quebec up north. I met FX Francois last year, and he captivated Stevie and I's attention because Brian, he ice fishes over 500 foot of water.
That's ridiculous.
In Quebec.
That's ridiculous.
And we just got done. We've been doing some talking, and the ice hasn't been good this year, has it?
Well, it's not good for us. We still have like 18, 20 inches of ice, but it's been stressful for us because she went out in December, and we didn't know if we'd get on, but finally we're good. We've been ice fishing for a month. It's been great. Yesterday, a buddy of mine caught a 20-pound cod while I'm here talking and drinking water and trying to stay hydrated. So it's been great. We got a petition this year that's gone in to try and keep Atlantic halibut over there. They're present in the St. Lawrence, and they come into the Saguenay Fjord where we fish, but they're commercially fishing in St. Lawrence, and they don't let us keep it in one. So we're talking to our government officials about saying, look, it's forced fishing. It's bringing in tourism to our region, and we need to captivate the public.
Sure.
You know, a halibut is impressive.
Yeah.
Man.
So
Can you imagine?
How big of a hole do you have to drill in the ice to get a halibut of that size through the ice?
You try and not catch him when you're in your shack, because then you gotta like hook the line outside with a stick, and it's kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
But this year I want to concentrate more on it, so I'm just going to put a big hole, a 10-inch hole like everybody else, put my bait down there and my hooks, and then when you do hook one, what the guys do is just drill 4 or 5 holes sideways, and you can get that big barn door out of the water, man. Last year there was, I talked to the guy here who has the fishing shop. He said it's at least 7 or 8 stories that he heard of people that actually took it out, not just like busted lines, because everybody gets broken off over there.
Yeah, right.
So at least 7 or 8 fish were brought to the ice, taken a picture of, and just put back.
Man.
That's before we put in the effort and it's legal to catch them, man.
Yeah.
Imagine when we get good at it.
Oh, yeah. Get the technique down.
Oh, my gosh. And they're good eating, too.
They are, man.
Oh,
unbelievable.
How's your year been? I know you do a lot of guiding in the springtime. So how was it last year?
It was amazing. It was one of the best years work-wise. Like, I started in the spring doing maple syrup tapping. So I just walk with my snowshoes and get in shape for bear season. Bear in Alberta was unbelievable. I live in a tent camp with a couple of buddies of mine, and we guide about 6 customers a week, 2 bears each, 1 wolf. If they're tagged out on bear, wolf is kind of included in Alberta, so you just sit them on a power line where I know that there's like a path. It's not specific like you're gonna kill a wolf, but the opportunity is still there, and 2 bears is fun because you're always excited to kill, and then you kill too early and you're like, oh, I don't know, my bear's not huge. Doesn't matter. In Alberta you got another one.
So
and then
in Alberta I can come up there and kill 2 bears.
Yeah, and they have colored bears, which I don't have here in Quebec. I can't offer that product to people, but it's more expensive in Alberta. You triple the price of the bear hunt. And then after bear hunting, it was Labrador. So we went and fly fished for 8-pound brook trouts.
Oh, my gosh.
10 whole weeks.
Stevie, you don't want to
listen.
wilderness. 10 weeks. And how big were these?
Well, like, we don't catch 8-pound every day.
Yeah.
But there's not a day I didn't see at least a 3-pounder. And 4, 5, 6 is very, very common. Like, you catch many, not just, oh, I caught 1. And 8, you'll see it once or twice. But that's the goal that everybody comes up there with in mind. It's a great place.
You said you start your season off by collecting maple syrup.
Yeah, like in the winter we all get a little fat ice fishing, so it's a good way to get in shape, and you spend 2 weeks in the woods walking in snowshoes. It's nice and quiet.
Are you scouting then too for your bear season?
No, I do my maple syrup near Rimouski, and the bear is with Bruno Martel Adventures in Alberta near Fort McMurray.
All right.
And then Labrador, it's Three Rivers Lodge, owned by Robin Reeve, who's an amazing outfitter. I truly respect that guy. And after that, my buddies invited me to do Newfoundland moose this year and caribou, which I missed so much after the 2 years of no caribou in Quebec. I got to play in them again, and it's just unbelievable over there, man.
No wonder Quebec sends you FX, because it seems like you are hunting and fishing around the entire province.
The entire province, and now I work less in Quebec. I have fun exploring, but it's all through people I met in Quebec. The people are amazing. Sometimes you're a little scared. The Americans come up and they're a little scared of the border or the French kind of barrier. If the outfitters are smart, they're speaking English. The only place you'll find people that don't speak English is like the regions when you're filling up your car. But they have a very convenient thing called a price number, and you don't have to speak to the guy. You just kind of give him the number of money that's there. It's perfect.
If people can't get down to the show, how can they get some information about Quebec through the internet, or do you have any access for people to look you guys up?
Yep, we have a great website with the Federation. It's got a fun tool on it. You click on a region that you want to visit in Quebec. Every region is very different, and it's got different fish or game to offer. And after you choose the region, you choose the species of game that you're willing to pursue, and you can add species. Like if you want trout, walleye, and pike, well, there's camps that don't have that. Sure. If you want to add lake trout to that, well, look here, there's Morzel Netakim that has all 4. They're awesome. There's a trip for everybody in Quebec. You just have to make sure you choose right, and that tool helps you. It's the website, you just write go on Google. It's easy, right? Federation of Outfitters of Quebec. It's going to drive you to our website, and we can help you then.
Okay. Excellent. Appreciate your time today. Always good seeing you.
Yeah, man. I'm glad we met each other again.
Right. Amen.
Yeah. We'll do this again next year for sure.
Have a great show.
Exactly.
You guys too, man.
Well, there you have it, folks. Day 6 of the National Rifle Association's Great American Outdoor Show 2020. What a show it's been, and what a show it's still going to be. We got a couple of days left. If you get a chance, get on down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Check out the Great American Outdoor Show. And as always, check us out, RuttenRiverPursuits.com. On Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, just search Rutten River Pursuits. Check out the YouTubes, Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. The podcast itself, of course, is always available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. That's what we got for today. See ya.